guys, it's Mo. It is February the 6th, and we have a lot of news. We've got a snarky trial to do. I'm basically going to be on screen all day getting caught up with stuff. But I hope everyone is having a lovely morning and staying warm and safe because look, we got used to some 60 and 70-degree days last week, and now it's back to 34, like, Mother Nature's hot flash got done. So, goodness gracious, I hope that everyone is doing okay and staying warm because it looks like there is an ice storm heading for the northeastern seaboard. Good morning, Wolfram and Tammy and Penny Williams. I hope that you guys are doing great today. So, our first story is really, I hope, one that I can honor this gentleman's legacy. We are losing, the greatest generation, the generation of young men and women who asked not what their country could do for them, but what they could do for their country. Wives came out of the house to go work in factories because their husbands were overseas. And I really hope we get back to that, community helping. Also, on a very vain but side note, small victory, y'all, this shirt has not fit me in like 2 years, but holy God, it fits now. And it has Daria on my boobage area. So, I mean, honestly, how could I say no to Mr. Mo is like, we're cleaning out your closet, and if it doesn't fit, you have to let it go. And so I was like, I challenge you right now. I'm going to put this shirt on. So I got to keep this one. And welcome, John Gary, an 80s Music Man OG. So, our first story is Rest in Peace and thank you for your service, sir. Harry Stewart Jr., one of the last two remaining Tuskegee World War II veterans, has passed away at 100. And thank you guys so much. Great success. And Wolfram, honest to goodness, part of my weight loss has just been laziness. When my legs really hurt, if my snacks are far, far away and I have to get up, I have found that I am not motivated enough to go get, you know, any snacky snacks, which is kind of good. But I need to incorporate walking. But freezing rain, I say no. No to freezing rain. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Harry Stewart Jr. was one of the last two remaining members of the 355 original Tuskegee Airmen during World War II, and he has passed away. He was 100 years old. Stewart died in his home in Bloomfield, Michigan on Sunday. The Tuskegee Airmen National Historical Museum in Detroit confirmed there were no service arrangements announced. Now, Lieutenant Colonel George Hardy remains the only surviving pilot of the segregated all-black wing of the United States Army Air Force. They were part of the 332nd Fighter Group, which was known as the Red Tails for their plane's distinctive coloring. Quote, "We are deeply saddened by his passing and extend our condolences to his family and friends around the world," said Brian Smith, CEO and president of the Tuskegee Airmen National Historical Museum in Detroit. Harry Stewart was the kind of man of profound character and accomplishment. With a distinguished career of service, he continued long after fighting for our country in World War II. The museum is a repository for oral and written history of the Tuskegee Airmen, and it has the largest collection of airmen artifacts in the world. Now, Stewart was among the first 1,007 Army black pilots in the 1940s to be trained at the segregated Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama. Excuse me. He earned the Distinguished Flying Cross for his bravery escorting U.S. bombers during World War II and his heroic actions in combat. He flew 43 missions. He is one of four Tuskegee Airmen shot down by three enemy aircraft in a single day. In addition, he was part of the team who won the Air Force's first Top Gun aerial combat competition in 1942. Unfortunately, despite their feats, the black pilots still encountered racism during and after the war. In a 2019 interview with the Americans Veterans Center, Stewart recalled interviewing for several commercial airline pilot jobs in the 1950s. I was not hired, and the reason they were not hiring any African American pilots or crew at that time, Stewart said. Now, Stewart started what he called, or he started at what he called the bottom in aviation as a baggage handler in New York City's Pennsylvania station. He later graduated with a master's degree in mechanical engineering in 1963 from New York University. He was the vice president at Detroit's A&R Pipeline Company until he retired. Now, Stewart, who was born July 4th, 1924, in Newport News, Virginia. Despite suffering polio as a child that left his right calf partially paralyzed, Stewart enlisted at 18 and was accepted into the Army Air Corps in 1943. He earned his pilot's license a year later. When the Army Air Corps said that they would recant, they would build a field, but it would have to be just for the black trainees there. I was willing to accept that in order to go ahead and get my wings, Stewart told Friends of the National World War II Memorial in a 2024 interview. That was the prize as far as I was concerned. I was frankly willing to do anything to go ahead and get my wings. That's not to say I didn't have a strong streak of patriotism. I was a patriot, but I was also willing to turn my face the other way when it came to segregated training. He is survived by his daughter. Well, I hope his daughter was there and he passed peacefully, because it seems like he really was a patriot, a hero, and a man who did amazing things despite, kind of a dark part of our history. So, very good life. Now, I don't know about you, but this statue looks hella weird. If I got this as a present, I'd be like, you tried, and where the hell am I going to put the statue? But hopefully, Cristiano Ronaldo of sports ball soccer really likes it. For his 40th birthday, he got a statue in his honor in Times Square. Again, I am all the confused. This looks like, he kind of looks like the guy from Deadpool with all the metal on him. I forget his name. But the good guy who's Russian, a renowned sculptor unveiled a massive monument in Times Square on Wednesday to honor famed soccer player Cristiano Ronaldo. And I know I am butchering his name, and I am sorry for soccer people or football. I don't keep up with it. He looks like a cyborg. It's just weird. So it was unveiled Wednesday for his 40th birthday as his fans celebrated by chanting his legendary catchphrase. Sergio Funari, known for his terracotta and steel rendition of the iconic New York photograph Lunchtime Atop a Skyscraper, created the 12-foot tall bronze sculpture to immortalize the essence of Ronaldo, not just as a sportsman, but as a cultural icon who has inspired millions and billions across the globe, according to a press release. Again, he looks like the bad guy from Superman. And again, the name escapes me. Ronaldo is more than a football player. He is a symbol of perseverance, excellence, and global unity that inspired me on the creation of this masterpiece, the sculptor said. The truck-mounted monument, painted in green, red, and gold, drew boisterous crowds to the crossroads of the world, where Portuguese flag-waving fans belted out their players' favorite trademark celebration chant of "Su? See you?" Look, I am way too uneducated in all of the sports ballians to understand what he just said, and neither do I know Portuguese. So I apologize again for, there's verbal slaughter of everything. Now, the Sui celebrates the moment when, after scoring a goal, Ronaldo runs towards the corner flag and makes a high leap with his arms spread wide, and then lands in a powerful stance while shouting the word, according to Portuguese American Journal. The fans often chant along, making it a thrilling moment in any match. Well, Okay, not to talk crap about soccer, but I played soccer and like the high score is 3-1. I mean, we need to make a pickleball soccer field for those of us that are fluffy and need to be motivated by higher scores. Videos from the Times Square shows Ronaldo's faithful banging drums, singing in Spanish, yelling a throaty "sui" several times in a row. Again, have no idea, but glad he's happy. Oh, okay, so that's his uniform. I was just like, that is, it's not my cup of tea, that uniform, but okay. I mean, you do you, sir. Now, Funari, the sculptor, hoped fans could break the world record for most people simultaneously performing the victory cry, but a rep couldn't say for sure Wednesday if they had done it. The unveiling is part of a grand Times Square birthday celebration that the press release said will feature sports and entertainment figures. Now, the statue comes after an infamously bad bust of Ronaldo was pulled from the Portuguese airport. Now, let's see how bad this one was. Are you not going to show the picture? I. Oh, what in the penis bulge is that? I, I mean, he's head height at crotchular level. What am I supposed to do with that? Greedy bloke, I'm sorry. I I don't understand sports ball at all. So I am equally ignorant of both European and American sports if it makes you feel better. I'm equally dumb in all things sports. So that's the bizarre one, I guess. Again, the bulge. That bulginess was pulled from the Portuguese airport in 2018, just 1 year after it was installed. The bizarre caricature earned worldwide criticism for failing to capture Ronaldo's likeness. Now, Ronaldo has gone on to win numerous awards during his lengthy career, during which he played for Manchester United, Real Madrid, and the Portuguese national team in the World Cup. Ronaldo, who has been ranked the world's highest paid athlete by Forbes in 4 of the last 9 years, also has more than a billion total followers across his social media platforms. He now plays for a Saudi Pro League club called Al Nasir. Again, I apologize for the butchering of that. Now, for his part, Funari hopes that his work will provide inspiration and maybe spur the all time great Ronaldo to his first World Cup victory. I strongly believe that with the right training and mental preparation, Ronaldo could win the World Cup in 2026. The whole continent will be waiting and cheering for you. Well, look, you lose skills if you don't learn them. Maybe we have to relearn things. Welcome, Irish and Fraudit Terminator and Audio Coffee, Marlena and 80s Music Man. So, I just don't think we hate the media enough. And here is my example. This. Exhibit this. To Okay, so the media was already gross with the Washington, D.C. crash. They basically went up and mobbed a man who was trying to find texts desperately from his wife. I mean, this is how gross they are. Couldn't let him, find out about the death by himself. No, had to film it and ask him questions and try to see his text messages. There should be a line. I had hoped that journalism would maybe take a bit of a, reset, but we just don't hate them enough. Legacy media. Now, shenanigans media, great. Father was in an airport parking lot when he found out his family had passed in a car crash. This is devastating. And I only covered this a little bit because, again, there's not really a story attached to it, but why the ever living F? Look, as someone who's walked through grief, and I'm not going to, go into a big old sermon, but as someone who's walked it through grief, the last MFing thing you want to do is publicly perform your grief in, on the freaking, internet, on cable. It's not good. Grief is your soul being sucked out of your body, and no one wants to deal with that with a camera in front of their face unless you're, well, kind of e-thoughty. I don't know. Anywho, so I just thought I'd bring that up because I am tired of the media doing this. Respect people's privacy. There are other ways to get a story out, and if the family reaches out to you, that's great. But to go invade someone's personal life when they've lost someone, lost his whole flippin' family, and you're like, can we please get a microphone in front of you and, see your grief online? Ew. Just ew. Now, I know that there is another big sports ball thingamajig coming up called the Super Bowl. I have heard tell it's pretty popular. So if you are worried that, New York, or not New York, New Orleans, maybe lax on their security, this article has been put out to kind of give you, security as far as they are supposed to be beefing up all of their security. New Orleans ramps up security as 120,000 visitors descend on the city for Super Bowl just weeks after the T attack on, Bourbon, I believe. After the New Year's Day terror attack struck New Orleans' historic French Quarter, city officials say they are confident in security plans they have in place for Sunday's Super Bowl. More than 125,000 visitors, including President Donald Trump, are expected to converge on the Big Easy this week for days of revelry, capped off with a clash between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles at the Caesar Superdome to crown this season's NFL champion. Now, following the, inspired by the T word ramming attack in which 14 people lost their lives and dozen more were injured along Bourbon Street. Yes, I remembered it right. You guys, look, it's a small victory, all right, when I remember something correctly. So, one of the city's most famous thoroughfares, allegedly security lapses had triggered multiple lawsuits and investigations as far as that incident. There is a lot of things that I think the city could have done better, and I hope they are taking that as a lesson. But the city, the NFL, and law enforcement officials insist that after more than a year of preparations, they are ready to play host. We are going above and beyond what we've seen in the past when we've hosted previously, Mayor Latoya Cantrell said. We know we're safer than we've ever been before. Now, approximately 2,000 law enforcement officers will be present for the Super Bowl. New Orleans Police Department Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick, also known as the Crypt Keeper, told reporters Wednesday no vehicle traffic will be allowed on Bourbon Street and the city will block intersections leading to the most popular areas, Kirkpatrick said. Security has been heightened with President Trump's visit announced Tuesday, and the city will have to shut down some additional streets for a little longer in order to provide a safe corridor for him, Kirkpatrick said. Now, drones are prohibited above downtown New Orleans and around the Super Bowl in the days leading up to the game, and there will be flight restrictions up to 18,000 feet or 5,486 meters, according to the Federal Aviation Commission or Administration. Armed federal air marshals will be stationed around the city's transportation hubs, scanning for suspicious people or activities and guarding against drones, said Noel Curtin, supervisory air marshal in charge of the Transportation Security Administration. Super Bowl events will sprawl out across neighborhoods far beyond the stadiums, said Homeland Security Investigations New Orleans Special Agent in Charge Eric Delane, who is leading the federal coordination of the security. Federal agencies from the FBI to the Secret Service are bringing in rooftop pew-pews and will position armored squad vehicles around the stadium, the French Quarter, and downtown, Delane said. No one will be allowed inside cordoned-off areas surrounding the Superdome without credentials, and the city has begun shutting down and limiting traffic on road near the stadium. The perimeter will include blast barriers and trucks that will be required to pass through giant X-ray machines typically used at the border crossing, Delane said. Dozens of technicians and more than 100 explosive sniffing dogs are conducting days-long efforts to scour the 400,000 square feet of the Superdome and each of its more than 7,000 seats prior to game day. They're going from top to bottom on the building to make sure it's secure and safe. They open every door, check under every seat, Delane said. Much of the security infrastructure will carry over to the Mardi Gras season, which has been upgraded to Homeland Security's highest risk rating to receive more manpower and resources. Multiple lawsuits have claimed city authorities were aware of Bourbon Street's vulnerability to that kind of truck ramming attack that douchebag carried out. He drove his F-150 around a parked police car and as a makeshift barricade and plowed into pedestrians before he was crashed and taken out by the police. Now, the bollard system of steel columns installed to block this very thing from happening was being replaced at the entrance of Bourbon Street at the time of the attack. It remains on track for completion before the Super Bowl, officials say. Now, authorities say they have brought in more types of physical barriers to protect entry points, resulting from concerns that the new bollard system was not strong enough to block vehicle attacks. How do you have a bollard system and its entire purpose is to stop cars and they're like, it might not work? While there have been no specific or credible threats that have surfaced, according to NFL security chief Kathy Lehner, the precautions are heightened. In January, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry ordered removal of multiple homeless encampments near the stadium and moved dozens of unhoused people into temporary warehouse shelters. He also announced the creation of an enhanced security zone along Bourbon Street to bookend Super Bowl weekend, and he would deploy 350 National Guard members. After authorities found out that douchebag had planted ice chests containing undetonated IEDs around the French Quarter, Landry declared a ban on coolers and ice chests in these areas and ordered mandatory searches of bags for anyone entering Bourbon Street during Super Bowl weekend. Now, in accordance with state law, firearms, including permitless concealed carry force multipliers, will be allowed on Bourbon Street, but not in bars. So you can, conceal carry, but just not in a bar. And you can't take a cooler, so I guess your wife's going to take a big purse. I don't know. I'm sure people will figure it out, As Jurassic Park, Dr. Ian says, life finds a way. Booze and firearms don't mix, Kirkpatrick said, adding that officers will monitor for anyone negligently carrying, such as having a force multiplier tucked in a waistband instead of a holster. People will be extremely unwise to bring a force multiplier into our hospitality areas, Kirkpatrick said. Don't do it. There's no need for it, folks. Says the woman who allowed a tea attack to happen. I mean, let's be real, she probably could not have anticipated that this would happen, but she did know that their security was wanting. So you've just failed big time, and then you're like, trust me, bro. I'm going to say hard pass on that. I don't trust you, Granny Crypt Keeper. The Superdome's owner, ASM Global, has contracted with New York-based artificial intelligence firm Datamir to monitor potential and emerging threats in real time. The company will draw from over 1 million sources of public data across 150 languages, from social media to dark web forums to traffic cameras. Datamir Chief Security Officer Robert Crowley said. Datamir uses generative AI to produce memos alerting Superdome officials of trending patterns such as an influx of posts showing swelling crowds or physical disturbances as they unfold. It's stitching together all these little pieces of the puzzle to get a holistic, comprehensive view of what has happened, Crowley said. The faster you know that it's occurring, the faster you can take care of it. Visitors can also report suspicious activities and receive security updates with the city's NOLA Ready public safety app. I have a feeling this is when AI realizes humans are crazy and it needs to destroy us to keep the peace. I'm just saying, maybe we shouldn't teach AI that we're all a bit cray cray, because I feel like this is when Skynet, achieves consciousness and they're all like, you humans don't act any sort of logical. Good morning, Debbie Blair and Christine. Good morning. And Audio Coffee, if I didn't say good morning to you or Greedy Bloke, I am glad you guys are here. So it sounds like they're talking a good game. I do hope and pray for everyone's safety as they are doing Super Bowl sports ball things. Again, it's not my jam, but I know it is a lot of people's jam. So I hope they have a great time. I hope the game goes whatever way you want it. And the the what the halftime show isn't hotastic. Maybe could it be about music? I mean, and I am in Mr. Mo's room. My room is currently just about torn all apart. We are pulling up the carpet and making it easier for me to roll carts around and things like that in my room. So I have stolen his room and his area while this is going on. And it does actually make a pretty good set. So I may steal his room. Not gonna lie. This heifer. Okay, you guys. On Tuesday, when I couldn't figure out whether my stomach was just going to completely give up the ghost or I'm going to get the flu, the cold flu, I decided to deep dive into this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni bullshit, if you ask me. Now, this is all the crazy, and Blake Lively is not looking so great. Again, ladies, never go full Amber Heard. And Audio Coffee, hate to disappoint, but I gotta go out in about 15 minutes because I've got a meeting to go to. The people holding the meeting know where I live and called personally yesterday to remind me. I think I need an assistant for that. The amount of times I've gone into the doctor's office on the wrong day since I've gotten hurt because of brain fog or, to be honest, maybe a little bit of ADHD too. Um, I definitely need that. And even when they call the day before, I'm still like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm right on my way. Anywho, so let's get back to Blake Lively basically burying herself with this mean girl sort of attitude. Read the letter Blake Lively allegedly wrote for Justin Baldoni to take accountability during It Ends With Us bad press. Now, I believe the genesis of this story is multifaceted. It looks like it has more lore than Dune, but it appears that that all of the shenanigans might have been a carefully orchestrated plot to get Blake Lively to have more control over the movie and possibly to take over rights to, I guess there's a sequel to this book. I don't know. I've never read any of the chick that wrote the books thing. She just wasn't my jam. Justin Baldoni claimed Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds drafted a statement for him where he'd take accountability for the bad press around It Ends With Us. Now, Blake Lively did not maybe get the memo because she didn't read the book prior or at any time, I believe, doing this. So, this particular movie is about a woman dealing with basically generational trauma and DV. So this is not like a rom-com. This isn't, Love Actually or anything like that. This is definitely going to be a more serious movie. And Blake, during her press release or press kind of tour for this movie, hawked her hair care products, hawked alcoholic beverages, but didn't really give any sort of empathetic, clarity as to the real issues of this movie. So she got a lot of backlash for that. Now, instead of accepting responsibility for maybe being a little tone deaf and simply, coming out and saying, sorry, I guess I didn't, quite know how to deal with this subject matter, she decided to claim that Justin Baldoni had created this conspiracy to make her look bad. Again, it has more lore than freaking Dune, but let's get into it. Over the weekend, Baldoni, 41, launched a new website with an amended version of his $400 million lawsuit against the couple, as well as a document that outlines timeline of the event before and after the movie's filming. Now, Baldoni filed both the amended complaint and the timeline document in court. In the filed timeline, Baldoni claimed that Lively, 37, and Reynolds, 48, tried to force him into taking the blame for the troubled production of It Ends With Us and the negative press that Lively dealt with while she promoted the flick. Lively and Reynolds allegedly wrote a draft statement in August 2024, the same month the movie came out, after they were furious with Baldoni and his production company, Wayfarer Studios, for, quote, positioning them as promoting the film as a Barbie film while elevating Baldoni to speak on the more serious messaging. The alleged draft statement said, "It Ends With Us was a troubled production which we take full accountability for. We are sorry to everyone we caused upset to privately and publicly. Blake Lively, Colleen Hoover, and the entire cast and crew led with professionalism every step of the way. Any negativity aimed at them is ours to own." Now, first of all, a company is never in their statement going to take full responsibility for something they are not liable for. So this was never going to happen. He was never going to sign this, co-sign this, and take responsibility for Blake not reading the room. It continues, "We mutually agreed that the cast would be promoting the film separately and understood why. We have always said we're not perfect, and even if unintentionally make mistakes, we always own them." The alleged draft statement continued, "We hold ourselves accountable. It's not anyone's job but ours. And that's part of being man enough." Now, Justin Baldoni has been very open and honest about redefining his masculinity. Now, that sounds like a podcast I will never listen to, okay? But it was called Man Enough. So this is a direct attack on Baldoni. Again, it calls into question his sort of moral character, and it really is quite remarkable to see someone who inserted her foot so far in her mouth that it's doing a reverse Lemmy Winks and it's going to come out the other end, to blame someone else. Again, this movie touches on subjects that are very deeply personal to a lot of people, men and women. And the fact that not only Blake Lively tried to hawk her hair stuff and her, alcoholic beverages, Colleen Hoover, the author of this book about DV, remember this, wanted to put out a coloring book about this movie. Now, I don't know where these two women went to get their emotional intelligence, their read the effing room, but apparently they missed that line and they went straight to vapid. Now, I have not watched the movie. If you guys would like me to watch the movie and give a review, it's going to be a drunk one. I'm just saying. I don't know that I can do that. So anyway, there was a threat that if Wayfarer, the company, had not put out this particular statement in which they take ownership of Blake Lively being unable to react like a human with a soul, they went ahead and filed a lawsuit, and now we are going back and forth. I do intend to read all of the paperwork and make videos on that, but doggone it, you guys, I am going to be very honest. This year has felt like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then X, Y, and Z just pops up. We've had the ick, the infusions, and now a room change. So it's all for the better. It's all positive except for everyone getting sick. But it's still like, I want to do all the things and I have to wait. And patience has never been my virtue. I always tell the kids we're practicing patience, and we may never get it right, but we're going to practice. We need a little bit of good in here. A pilot proposed to his girlfriend mid-flight in a heartwarming video. But now that I think about it, I'm kind of worried that the pilot is not piloting, even though I'm pretty sure he maybe has it on, I don't know, autopilot, or possibly there's a second person up there. I'm just saying, it's romantical, but if I'm sitting in the seat next to you, I'm gonna be like, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt your beautiful, beautiful moment, but who the F is flying the plane? I had to take, 2 shots before I got on here, and I'm still anxious, so what the hell? Yeah, I'd have current dramatic stress over that. Love is in the air. A pilot proposed to his girlfriend mid-flight as the plane cruised at 30,000 feet in a public display that had hearts soaring. Now, it said passenger recorded the sweet moment. An unnamed Aero Mexico captain declared his love for his girlfriend, who was seated in first class, over the speaker. And he has a good beard. He did good. Today, I boarded that same person who transformed my life, my co-pilot of love and life, Norma Bastoro, he said in Spanish. Now, Bastoro appeared surprised about the announcement and immediately began looking around for her love. From the day I met you, I knew I wanted to fly by your side in every adventure, in every storm and clear sky that life presents to us, he said. Honey, I knew you were special from the day I met you, but over time I realized you were everything I dreamed of. You're my refuge, my joy, and the reason I want to be better every day. Aww. Wait till she yells at you because you cannot. Is it a genetic impossibility that if you have an Y chromosome, you cannot find a laundry basket? Because I swear to God, my snapped episode is going to start out with, and she found the socks right next to the laundry basket. Then she went to use the restroom, found an empty toilet paper roll. Then she just, said, F it, I'm a day drink. And she went to the kitchen and there were no dishes ready for her. Again, my snapped episode would be that. That's just what it would be. You've been my companion in great challenges and wonderful moments. And then he asked her to stand, explaining he was watching through the cameras. The pilot then appeared from the cockpit and walked down the aisle as he hoped she would be soon to meet Bastaro, as everyone in the cabin excitedly watched on. When the pilot was finally face to face with his girlfriend, he got down on one knee and asked, "Will you marry me?" Bastaro said yes because her name is Bastoro. Bastoro. Look, I can't roll my R's very well, but I'm just saying, look, if I had the last name Bastoro and I met a relatively attractive person that didn't annoy the crap out of me, I am changing my name. The newly engaged couple hugged as she cried and said yes, and they kissed, and onlookers recorded the emotional moment and cheered the two on. The pilot then returned to flying the plane, and Bastoro settled in her seat, probably playing with her ring. Now, personally, Mr. Mo may not be the most romantical, and he kind of told me, because I got to pick out my ring. He had a friend who used to do jewelry stuff, so I picked out my ring and the stone and all that. And he got the ring, and then he said, I'll just put this on my dresser, and if you'd like to put it on, I don't have to propose. I made that dingleberry propose. Although, poor Mr. Mo, he tried his darndest. So there was, in the town we used to live in, there was this little gazebo, but we got engaged in the middle of fall. So it was basically all dead, like leaves and sticks. And, it would have been great for a Tim Burton sort of engagement. But we got engaged in, our backyard, and I wouldn't change it for anything. It's, it's not where you are. It's not how, elaborate it is. It's when it happens and you have that feeling that, yes, I am going to make these promises with this person, and oh my God, sparkly ring. Okay, let's be real. I was like, sparkly ring. A small part, only the Liberace part. The rest was like, I'm in love. But I was like, sparkles. In interesting news, I wonder if this would stop people from just stopping in the middle of aisles on Walmart. I mean, I'm not saying I would test it on fellow humans, but y'all, the peanut butter situation has been the same for years. It's creamy, it's crunchy, and if you're a psychopath, it's goober, okay? It's not like trying to figure out the lost ark or, where the Holy Grail is. For the love of God, pick your peanut butter and let's go, Cletus, okay? And welcome, Shizzy Raiders. You came just in time to learn that the U.S. Navy intercepted a test zone. English is my first and only language, and yet I sometimes suck out loud at it. Intercepted a test drone with Helios directed energy weapon. The U.S. Navy has developed a directed energy weapon that can intercept unmanned drones and possibly cruise missiles while enhancing naval operations in combat areas. The weapon is a high energy laser with an integrated optical dazzler. Ooh, I want an optical dazzler. I am an optical dazzler. Unless you look at my shorts and someone said that Donald Trump could help with me with my makeup. I try to filter. I'm not a makeupologist. Look, I barely understand the whole contouring thing. I don't get it. So, guilty as charged. I suck out loud at girl. I'm working on it, okay? It is what it is. It's hard to find super pale. I'm just telling you. It's hard to find super pale that isn't, yellow based, doesn't make me look like a vampire or Wednesday Addams. So I'm learning. Give me time, but all the best, sweetheart. Anywho, so I just find that so funny. And don't get me wrong, look, my heart is not broken, but maybe it's my innate laziness, but I just don't have the energy to, like, say, you stuck out loud at girl. I mean, tell me something I don't know. Come on. If you're gonna be snarky, let's get on. Kind of low hanging fruit if you tell me I don't know how to blend my makeup, because I don't. But there you go. I just said all the best and thanks for the engagement. Anywho, the weapon is a high energy laser with an integrated optical dazzler and surveillance, more popular known as Helios. And the Navy successfully test fired the system last year and has more tests planned in 2025. The Helios system is a type of directed energy weapon which the Navy confirmed is a viable weapon for intercepting aerial targets that might endanger U.S. naval ships and other targets. Now, U.S. Navy personnel aboard the destroyer USS Preble at an unknown time and a location affirmed that the Helios system worked during demonstrations intended to, quote, verify and validate functionality, performance, and capability of the system against an unmanned aerial vehicle target. The Department of Defense's 498-page 2024 Operational Test and Evaluation Report says on page 388. Now, the U.S. Military Center for Countermeasures supported the test and collected images that support and validate that the Helios system was a viable countermeasure against low-cost drones and other weapons. Engineers at Lockheed Martin developed Helios, the directed energy weapon, that uses a 60 kilowatt laser that can blind the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance sensors mounted on drones. The laser weapon fires concentrated energy that travels at the speed of light with potentially limitless firepower at a cost that's much lower than when firing conventional weapons such as a missile. At a relatively low cost drone. Now, Helios can provide the Navy with long range intelligence and surveillance and reconnaissance, capability to identify potential combat targets and assess battle damage. The Navy's 2025 budget includes funding for testing the Helios system against a cruise missile, the Navy reported. Now, Lockheed Martin developed Helios, uh, the system that might be added to Japan based U.S. Navy destroyers to counter Japanese military drones deployed in the East China Sea. So that's interesting. I mean, anything that plays with lasers, I'm kind of there. I hope they do take footage and we can look at it, like, because I think that would be cool. But hopefully, we are working on stuff to keep us safer, and that looks a whole lot mathy, so all the best Big Bang, nerdy stuff to you guys, because I have no idea. Now, what in the Walmart rapture? This woman's mama must be so embarrassed. OnlyFans model suing Tariq Hill over broken leg admits that she had sex with him afterwards. Sweet child, go get yourself baptized. Okay, like, I mean, if I have to, after SMEX, explain to the ER doctor what had happened, I either had a great time or a really bad time. And I probably wouldn't put it on the internet. I'd probably say I fell down the stairs. A new twist in the lawsuit filed against Tariq Hill by plus-size OnlyFans model was revealed Wednesday after she admitted that the two got intimate after she injured her leg. Sophia Hall said she had sex with the Star Dolphins wide receiver after she claimed that Hill fractured her right leg with crushing force during a backyard football lesson in 2023, according to a deposition that was viewed by the Daily Mail. Now, Hall, 35, alleges in her lawsuit that during the June 28, 2023 incident, Hill knocked her down with such force that she eventually had to undergo reconstructive surgery. She is asking to be awarded damages in excess of $50,000. I mean, ma'am, you are a beautiful woman. That color looks great on you. Ma'am, I confess that my thighs know each other. There has never been a gap there. I have birthing hips. Maybe the whole bodysuit outfit is just break it up a little. I don't know. Look, I would never personally wear anything like this. My leg wouldn't tolerate it. If it's her jam, if it makes her feel smexy, great. But you also just done broke your leg during, make this make sense. Make it make sense. However, Hall revealed during the deposition that the two had been intimate the night of the incident, according to reports. Hall explained that Hill had given her a piggyback ride up to his room and replied no when Hill's attorneys, Robert Horowitz, asked if she had tried to call the police, leave, or ask to stay in a different room in Hill's South Florida mansion. Quote, no, because he was only aggressive in the moment after they had a laugh at him and during those plays, but after the plays it went back to normal demeanor and he was being more himself, Hall explained in her response as to why she stayed in his room following the incident. Hall said the two had sex just once. It was just the tip. On the night the football incident occurred and admitted to Horowitz later the next day, they also had more sex. I wanted comfort. I felt vulnerable in that moment. I was injured. I call bullshit. Now, when I broke my ankle, which set off all this stuff, if Mr. Mo had been in an amorous mood that night, that would have been a no. No, 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 no. So, and thank you for listening, Elu. But I don't, if you have really broken your leg to the point that you need reconstructive surgery, I can speak from experience. The first day I injured my foot, I did not go to the doctor because I am a stubborn ass, okay? And I figured I could just ace bandage that shit up. Now, being the case that I'd broken my ankle, that was not going to help. So I actually went to urgent care. But the thought of smexy time and that being a comfort was nowhere on my radar. That being said, maybe smexy time is her comfort blanket. I do not know. Now, Hall allegedly spent more days with Hill doing various activities before returning to Tampa to receive medical treatment. Hill and Hall met the month prior after she enrolled her 10-year-old son into his football camp, and the two talked and texted daily. Ma'am, this is not attractive. Okay, as a bustular woman, let me explain something. This looks so tacky. They actually make suits that are for fuller figures. They've got more support. They cover the boobular area. I know you don't want to cover your boobular area because it gets you money, which is, you know, I ain't your mama. I ain't going to preach to you. Okay. But this outfit, no. Just no for me. If it makes her feel smexy, yay for her, but that's a nah for me. And there she is in a wheelchair. During the October 2024 deposition, Hall also seemed to imply that she didn't blame Hill for intentionally trying to hurt her in text to her sister. That's not the words I used. I said I got injured while playing, Hall said. I just said that I was trying to guard him and that's how I got hurt. Well, this chick just hasn't seen a swimsuit that she don't like wearing. I don't know why she is clipped off at the waist in this picture, but she apparently just hasn't seen a swimsuit she doesn't like. Now, Hill's lawyer claims that Hall broke her leg while tripping over a dog. So, looks like we're going to be in a he said, she said, and I hope her leg is okay. And maybe she stops putting semi nude pictures up of herself because her son is going to get to an age where his friends are going to fap. And she's going to be Stifler's mom, and no kid needs to deal with that. Now, I think I finally found a job if this whole, internet personality thing doesn't work. I am going to be a villain for hire and a grudgery manager. If you have a grudge you've gotten tired of holding, I am, part Scottish and fake redheaded. I will hold that for you. We're going to have a cottage industry of grudgery. If I need to send little Facebook things to remind how petty we are, we're going to have a whole team for that. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to give that up for Lent. Villain for hire. Lets weak boyfriends beat him up in front of their partners to appear tough, sparking concerns. I love his tribute to heart hair. I almost want to, start with the little tambourine like, these dreams. Just saying. I love heart. Knights in lying armor. A Malaysian man who often gets mistaken for a member of a street gang started a villain for hire sort of cottage industry where he'll harass the boyfriend's significant other so they can beat him up and play the hero and appear tougher than they are. Shalazi Suleiman, 28, advertised his service on Facebook where for a reasonable fee, he'd set up the scenario and take the beat down. He's an enterprising chap. And if it doesn't work out, you can do a Journey tribute band. Steve Perry, there you go. Are you tired of your partner thinking you're weak? For a reasonable fee, I can prove them wrong, he wrote on social media, according to Dextero. Now, the bizarre businessman showed photos of himself with messy hair and a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Street cred. He probably looked so much cooler with a cigarette. Now, he told his potential clients that he regularly gets told that he looks like a shady character and a member of a street gang, which sparked the idea to launch the Villain for Hire service. Now, Suleiman also shared a brief scenario of how it would go down. When the boyfriend went to the bathroom, I would pretend harass his girlfriend, he wrote. When he returned, he would confront me like a hero. Look, sir, masochism is okay, but we try not to advertise that we like to injure ourselves either internally or externally. It's kind of something we keep on the down low. I mean, it's an interesting idea, and if he's willing to take a beat down for it, I'm just hoping the reasonable fee involves medical help. And it'd be so funny if the girlfriend beat him up and then, he still had. Oh, he does. Um, y'all, I'm getting funny Valhalla vibes, not scary vibes. I'm not gonna lie, his eyes sparkle too much. It's like he has this internal joke that we can't, quite figure out. So his eyes are quite sparkly, so I don't think he looks all that scary. Maybe it's just me, but he seems, fairly. He has it all buttoned up. He has the polo all buttoned up. I'm figuring if you're like a bad guy, you have a leather jacket or maybe like a vest but no shirt for the gun show. But no, this looks like any guy I see at the gas station, to be honest. Maybe I just feel seen because this is my town. My town is hanging on to the 80s like it is their job. We have claws in here, and if we take away white rain from this town and, rave hairspray, it is coming to an end, okay? I just feel seen. It sparks my hillbilly joy. While Soleimani's post seemed to cater his services to boyfriends, he clarified that he would be willing to do this for both men and women. Inclusivity. I love it. He also claimed to have already put on performances for friends and families. Come on, kick my ass. It's for my business. Dextero reported. Now, Soleimani said that he would provide his villain for hire services on weekdays for the small nominal cost of 100 ringgit or 22.50. Now, on the weekend, his price does jump to 150 ringgit, around $34. Jello, I have some people in my HOA that I need you to. He also shared that depending on how far he needs to travel, additional fees may apply to clients requesting his services outside the city that he lives in. Now, Soleimani didn't provide any details on how many times he may have put his business into practice or how much money he has raked in by being a villain for hire. While he seems to be all in his business, it did raise concerns with critics on social media, according to Dextero. Some have brought up that some of his stunts could be seen as SH, a serious crime in Southeast Asian or the Southeast Asian country. I mean, yeah. Now, the Malaysian government passed the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 2022 to stop unwanted contact of a sexual nature, whether verbal, nonverbal, visual, gestural, physical, that is directed to a person that is considered offensive, humiliating, or a threat to their well-being. Now, the government also formed a tribunal for anti-sexual harassment to rule over cases exclusively. If found guilty, an individual can be charged with a steep fine of 10,000 ringgit, or about $2,200, and go to prison for up to 2 years. However, Suleiman was not worried about being charged because he would never actually harm someone while conducting his villains for hire service. It's like an act, like WWE. No one gets hurt. I'm the only loser, he clarified on Facebook. You have an idea, you put it out in the world, and hey, if you want to take $20 to get beat up on a weekday and 34 to get beat up on a weekend, you do you, sir. I'm proud of you. Sort of. In this one, we have to praise the daggone sun. Thank you, sun. And I know it was probably the hardest thing that this son had to do, but freaking thank you so very much. As a mother of children, as a, protector of children, as someone who wants to see this gross, disgusting human garbage behavior stop, thank you for doing the hard thing and reporting your father. A son reported his father for CP. Lord Chippy attendants, if you could just get by your stations, Lord Chippy attendants. Alrighty, let's get into this. On January 31st, a Florida man who asked his son for help when he was locked out of his email account is facing 20 felony charges after the young man contacted police to report discovering CP on his parents' phone, according to the police. Now, investigators say that Gene Fallon, 63, had recently turned to his son, Jared, 30 years old, a city planner, for assistance with his disabled Gmail account. These are the two gentlemen right here. Obviously, the younger one is the son, and the older one is, well, trash. Fallon's account had been flagged by Google after the firm's monitoring systems detected that it had been used to upload illicit images of children to Google Photos, the sharing and storage service. Now, according to the felony complaints, Jared Fallon informed the police that he had found CP on Gene's cell phone after Gene needed help accessing his email. The resulting investigation, which included subpoenas, a search warrant, and cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, resulted in Tuesday's arrest of Gene Fallon for possession of CP. Now, Fallon reportedly admitted to saving CP when being questioned during a non-custodial interview. Saving it, like you're going to use it for later, and I need to bring my lights up from downstairs. I look... Well, tomato is a color, and honestly, this is kind of how I look if I don't have foundation on. I feel, anywho. Saving it. For what? I love these excuses, like I was trying to protect the internets by putting gross children stuff in my private email. Because I thought if I clickdated the picture, it deleted it on the internets. You're not fooling anyone. We need Chris Hansen. Come take a seat. Knowing this guy, he showed up with a foot-long Subway sandwich. Subway just never recovered after Jared and, To Catch a Predator. Don't know why there was such a deep connection between the, foot-long Subway sandwich and the take a seat guys. But I always noticed it for some reason. Now, the search of Fallon's Google Photos drive yielded 952 files containing CP, and I have never seen these two words put together, but they make me want to yak. Child erotica. Straight into Lord Chippy. I don't care. We're putting it on fast because I don't want to see this man. Ew. Now, seen at the left, Fallon, who lives in Kansas City and was freed from custody yesterday after posting a $100,000 bond. Each of the 20, second-degree felony charges Fallon faces carries a maximum 15-year prison term. Don't drop the soap, Dad, okay? That's about all I'm going to tell you. And what in God's name is wrong with Georgia? I need Georgia to come here and explain itself, because who the hell would like an entire chorus of kazoos? Who in the name of annoying and possible audio terrorism thought this up? A Georgia city attempting to break a kazoo ensemble record. Why? Just why? I can't. I don't know what's going on. Please, God, someone explain this to me. A Georgia city announced it is seeking at least 5,191 kazoo players to attend its annual festival and break a Guinness World Record. The organizers of the 2025 International Cherry Blossom Festival at the Atrium Health Amphitheater in Macon announced this year's event will feature an attempt to break the Guinness World Records for the largest kazoo ensemble. I didn't want to add anything else to my Church of Mo, commandments, but kazoos are also fucking banned, okay? So there is another thing that you can't do. I mean, most of the time I don't care what you do, but kazoos are also banned from our upcoming and, hopeful commune of introverts. They're banned. all of them. The make-in attempt is scheduled for March 28th. I would just leave town. Leave town and never come back. These people have betrayed you. They have lost their minds. Get away and take all the kazoos. It will be led by kazoo expert. Is that a LinkedIn thing? Can you put kazoo expert as your, I don't know where you would advertise, annoyingsounds.com? All proceeds from the $5 admission charges will be donated to the Otis Redding Foundation and Otis Redding Center for Arts. So it is going to a good cause, but I would wear earplugs and pretend I was deaf, or at least pray for it. Anywho, that is the end of this, and I hope you guys had a lovely morning. Remember, tomorrow is Friday, and Shizzy will be hanging out over here. We will have all the fun. Maybe I will find a story that tops the peen fish. It is my goal. And I will see you guys in just a little bit. If you would like to join me for the Tennessee versus Megan Boswell case, it is a child case. It is not going to be the easiest one to watch. I will be bringing the snark so that we can have, something. Look, I live in angry snark because sad and heartbreak are not great feelings for me. So I live in angry snark. So if we will just stay there. Again, caveat, that does not mean that I don't expect the state to prove their case and, fulfill their obligation to prove their case. I just read her for filth. I'm sorry. But as one hill chuck to another, she has given us a bad name. So this hillbilly is out for just a little bit. I'm going to rotate laundry, and then I'm going to be right back with you guys to speed run the rest of day one. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day, guys.